So I thought I might talk about some long distance shooting today, and as always this is my way of shooting. This is an old picture of me shooting from 2015, I think it is, from different angles, and it's pretty much self-explanatory, so just watch the video. And the important here is the drawback to the air. Here's from Ekenäs Medieval Fair. Same thing, drawback to the air. Same angle, a different speed. Here we have Per Frid Jonsson, a friend of mine, shooting Warbow. As you can see, his arrow is far too long. Here's Ola, and Ola is usually pulling the string pretty fast to his chin, or to his ear, sorry, and releases pretty fast, so he's shooting pretty far. There's a rocking motion just to get all muscles in. That's a really heavy bow. I don't remember, I think it was 150 pounds or something. And he's shooting really thin arrows, flight arrows. Here's Martin shooting, and he's over pulling himself. That bow is a bit too heavy for him. And here we are on the line, just practicing shooting long shots. This is at Söderköping. I think it's 2015. So when it comes to the arrows, I use birch. I order it from Slöjd Detaljer in Sweden. It's really cheap, and I can make lots of arrows. One have to be careful though when you select the shafts. Out of 100 you perhaps have 50 or 60 arrow shafts that you can use. Then I use a jig to shape them to the form of a Warbow arrow. That is, it's thinner in the knock end, 10mm in the knock end, and 12.7mm in the point end. As you can see, I use a drill machine, and this is really efficient. It's usually 3 to 4 minutes per shaft, so this clip is a bit short to really illustrate how long it takes. But I usually make around 50 to 100 shafts at a time, so I spend a day doing that. Also, in a Warbow arrow you should have horn nocks, and here I have glued them on. I make a slit, of course, first, and then I plug them in, and then there's binding on the arrow. I use really thick binding here on these arrows, but you should use silk to lessen the drag, to lessen the resistance through the bow. And also we do our arrowheads on these Japanese bellows, box bellows. It's really efficient. It blows on both strokes, in and out stroke blows, so it's really efficient. And the arrowheads are made from sheep iron, so it's not the best stuff. It's soft. And when they are finished, they look something like this. And then we attach them to the arrows. There are different types of arrowheads, of course, and different types of arrows. Here's a 1/4 pound arrow with a heavy tip on it. It's around 117 grams, this arrow, so it's really heavy. And then we have the delivery arrow, and that's about 75 to 80 grams, and it has armor piercing point on it. And then there's another type of arrow that's more like a standard arrow, but it's the same thickness, so it's the same weight really. It's even a bit heavier than delivery arrow. And then we have what's called the standard arrow. It's a 10mm shaft with a needle point on it. And here's from Visby, the arrowheads found in the graves outside the Visby ring wall. And it's of course bolt heads also, so it's not just arrowheads, but you can see the similarity to what we made. And this of course make an impact in how far you can shoot an arrow, also because of the shape and the weight. There's many aspects in why the arrow will fly as it does. And of course the fletching is important too. If you have big fletching, long feathers on your arrow, or big feathers on your arrow, the drag will be greater of course, and it will slow the arrow down. I actually shoot as far with my light standard arrows as I do with my 1/4 pound arrows, just because I use the same type of feathers. If I had smaller fletching on my standard arrows, I would probably shoot them longer, of course. Thank you.